about the chronically ill and current events, a technology guide for all of us. It's going to be led by Julie Blackburn, a data scientist, data literacy advocate, and chronic illness warrior, having been diagnosed with PPMS. At Blackburn Labs, she works in concert with her husband, a software architect in the healthcare and life sciences space. And Julie is developing a journaling application called Spoonie Day to help those with chronic illnesses navigate their energy levels and teach those around them how to partner in their journey. So love to learn more about this, and we'll kick it off to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Very excellent. I'm going to try to share my, I can't share my screen. It says host disabled it.
Try again.
Okay, see, check that out. We make it work. All right, screen, and I'm gonna go to my Chrome, and everything's going to be lovely, I am sure. Okay, let's see here. And I won't be able to see the questions because we have kind of the sidebar, so if you could just keep up your awesome job emceeing for me, that would be amazing. How's it look? Can everybody see my screen?
Julie, can you click the present button for your Google Slides so it's full?
I sure can. Thank you. Hey, there we go. How's that?
Looks great.
Okay, good. See, I should have listened to that other presentation in the beginning. Then that could have been more seamless, right? But anyway, yeah, chronically ill and current events, because we're all afraid of the COVID-19. And this is a guide for all of us, not just those who are chronically ill like me, because you're all part of our journey too. Okay, and hopefully this will help us all come together in a really positive, proactive, and holistic way. I've been looking forward to talking to you guys because it's not just about data, which is normally what I speak about. This, I get to be a little vulnerable and talk also about, other aspects of my life, and I'm sure other people share too, about being, chronically ill and immunosuppressed in these really scary times. And it's actually refreshing to talk about something other than A/B testing and hypothesis testing and that sort of thing. So I'll give you guys a quick overview. I'll introduce myself, my company. We're going to talk about the difference between chronic illness and being immunocompromised. And there are some invisible illnesses too. And I am sure that the statistics prove that everybody knows somebody in this audience who is going through something. The stats don't lie. I do still love data, and I will always acknowledge that the stats are they're easily manipulated, but often there is some truisms there. We're going to talk about the spoon theory. It might be new to some of you, and I can't wait to share it because it will help you deal with people in your life who are dealing with a balancing act for the chronically ill, about the different reserves they have. And then I get to talk about my passion project, Spoonie Day. And I want to acknowledge a woman who, she doesn't know it, but she is my twin flame out there, Rachel Donalds. And she did an amazing TED Talk that I'm going to quote a few things from. And we are currently at Blackburn Labs helping bring her application, BioSay, to market, because that is what we do. We bring apps to the finish line. She has worked really hard on it for a few years, and she just needs that little help getting over the hump. She is a Harvard educated somebody with a lot of psychological experience. And we're the data end. We're the data scientists, the computer software folks to help her get there. And we're going to talk about how data can help all of us together. So I did promise to introduce myself. This isn't about tooting my own horn. This is just, suffice to say, I'm an expert in data science. I am a data science officer at Blackburn Labs. I also am the data science officer at Trimarin Innovations. They are a medical device company trying to bring a new product to market, and they are heavily involved with the Venture Cafe. I've been featured in Providence Business News a few times. I went to Harvard, Hip Hop Hooray, and I am a certified Scrum Master too. Blackburn Labs, we typically do work in the life sciences arena. We've worked with Brigham and Women's Hospital, Beth Israel Deaconess, Boston Scientific, Harvard Medical School, Ametis, among lots of others. So life sciences is kind of our thing. But with all of these projects, I never have any time to work on my passion project, which is why I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about Spoonie Day and some other things. So again, if you guys wanted to see, and confirm what we've done in the past, there's some links and whatnot that I could share later. But basically, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of this. Chronically ill. 6 in 10 adults in the US have a chronic disease, and 4 in 10 adults have 2 or more. The immunocompromised, immunosuppressed, it's approximately 3%, more like 3.6, were immunosuppressed. So, for example, somebody like me, I have primary progressive multiple sclerosis. So that's a rare disease, multiple sclerosis, and of people who have MS, about 10 or 15% of them have primary progressive. So it's a rare disease, and I have a nasty form of a rare disease, a rare portion of that. And because I have primary progressive MS, they put you on a disease-modifying therapy that decimates your B cells and makes you immunocompromised. A lot of people who have chronic illness, they will be put on DMTs that will compromise their immunity. So it's sort of the other side of the sword. It's like, well, you can suffer from this illness, or we'll take this other path. Steroids could be immunocompromising methods. And it is what it is, but the chronically ill, they're walking among us. You definitely know somebody who is chronically ill. It could be heart disease. It could be mental illness. It could be Alzheimer's disease. The immunocompromised, little different. We're more the outliers, but we're still there too. And if you count the elderly, obviously, as we're all thinking about these things with COVID-19 right now, they're in that risk group also. So what do we do? What do we do, right? We also have invisible illnesses, and that's, MS like me. It's like, well, you don't look sick, but you're so young. You can't feel that bad, right? Chronic fatigue syndrome, lots of lupus, Lyme. You don't necessarily see them. People are suffering with them, but you don't see them. And as I was getting to, what do we do, right? The spoon theory. I don't know if we could take a quick poll of who knows what the spoon theory is, or has even heard of the spoon theory. But it is a wonderful way of describing what it's like to live with chronic illness. And basically, a woman, Christine Miseradino, I think I got that right. She's a writer, blogger, patient advocate, and she has a website that's But You Don't Look Sick. And she explained what it's like to live with lupus. That is her chronic illness. And what she did, she grabbed a bunch of spoons at a diner when she was talking to her friend, and she grabbed 12 of them. And she said, these are your energy reserves, basically. This is all you have for the day. That's all you have. Now, describe what you do in the day. And her friend's like, well, I get out of bed and I take a shower. It's like, whoa. You haven't cracked your eyes open yet. That's going to take a spoon. Because when you live with chronic illness, your energy levels are different. They just are. And it can be difficult to explain. But let's even say taking your medication. Well, your medication might make you throw up. Your medication might be a needle, and it might take a little nerve to build that up before you feel like you can do that. So that might take 2 spoons for you, depending on what that's like for you. Taking a shower, for somebody like me, heat exacerbates your MS symptoms. So taking a shower for me and then blow drying my hair and everything, that's tough. That definitely takes 2 spoons for me. But the thing is with the spoon theory is when you get to those 12, when you're out of spoons, you're out of spoons. And that's it. The difference between somebody who's chronically ill and somebody who isn't is that you can usually stretch those energy reserves and push it that little bit more. Just sit for 5 minutes and then you can push on. When you're out of spoons, when you're chronically ill, that's it. You're out of spoons. You need to rest. You need to lie down. It's over. So when I was diagnosed with primary progressive multiple sclerosis. I was like, oh, this is horrible. It's devastating. Well, being of my generation, I'm going to look for apps to go through my new normal, and I'm going to figure out what we're going to do. And everything around the spoon theory or even chronic illness, it was kind of pity party, table for one, and I didn't really want to be a part of it. So I decided to make something that was more whimsical, more holistic, and just more positive. And I felt like the missing piece with the spoon theory was shared understanding. So it is something that is collaborative, where you can share with your circle what the spoon theory is in a nice, psychologically safe way. So why share your data? Why share it with that circle of trust? There's a wonderful Harvard study of, I believe, 224 men over 75 years. And what they found is, over all that time, and this was about happiness and how satisfied they were with their life, the people who fared the best were the people who leaned into their relationships with family, friends, community. And I wanted to talk about how this is the difference when you share in a nice, safe environment. It's the difference between thinking of a single line versus putting it in perspective, right? Think of these corners of the triangle, right? We all have the same set amount of time in a given day. We all have the same 24 hours. But a typical person, you can wiggle around your energy and recovery levels. When you're chronically ill, that recovery time is pretty set. When you're done, you're done. When you're out of spoons, you're out of spoons, right? But if we lean into those in our circle of trust, things can be better, right? And it can be better for our loved ones too, because their questions and intentions genuinely are kindly meant. So it brings me to Spoonie Day. This is my website. This is my app, right? That is now pretty much in alpha. Don't click on it if you're using Firefox, it won't work. It'll work in Chrome, and I can do a live demo if I have time, but that can tend to go sideways when you're presenting. But anyway, again, I wanted it to be bright and happy and about planning, tracking, and managing your priorities. There's a little screenshot of it on the phone. And the intention is to check your morning mood, then, log what you do. Do you exercise? Do you go to work? How much is that going to take spoon-wise? That way you can feel empowered managing your day, and log your evening mood and then have a record. That way, when you're talking to your health practitioner, which I might see mine every 6 months, they can't just bulldoze you over and not say, well, are you doing this? Are you doing that? How did you do on this medication versus that medication? Because the truth is, unless you're getting data on it, you may not remember. I was sitting in front of my doctor and I was like, oh, I want to try Ampera. That's a nerve boost medication. And he's like, oh, do you have drop foot? And I'm sitting there wearing a drop foot brace while I'm wearing shorts. It was really obvious. And I resist the urge to flick him. And it's like, yes, I am. So sometimes having a written report, because if it's not there in their tablet, which is what he was doing, they just don't acknowledge it. And I think it would be useful to be able to have something printed up. Yes, I tried that. Yes, I have the data. And then when I did try Ampera, I logged the data empirically to prove that it actually did work over time. But not everybody's a data scientist. Not everybody has that flair, but it would be nice to have an application where you can check and see if things are working. Anyway, I don't want to get too dry, but with the data, we are stronger together, all of our data together. And then we can kind of push it through that data hygiene cycle, okay? And up that maturity model, making sure that we can combine. I would love to see disparate applications working together. And I am going to talk about BioSay as well, because that, in comparison, Spoonie Day looks like a stick figure in comparison to BioSay. She works so hard on it, and the artwork on it is absolutely breathtaking. So anyway, I recommend everybody check out the TED Talk by Rachel Donalds. She has an application that is nearing completion, BioSay. And as you see from the cool graphic in the background, I think that she worked with the people who designed Iron Man, when he's touching the computer in the sky, and it's very sexy and it looks great. And basically her intention is, it would be great if we could imagine a world where health is collaborative. You know, our data is collaborative, and imagine where wellness is crowdsourced, because our data is our new crude, right? And it's not just what medication you take. It's also, did you get sunshine? Did you talk to people who you trust? Do you have a circle of people who you trust? Did you go outside? Did you eat well? Did you exercise? You have to give yourself a fighting chance. Otherwise, what's the point? There are a couple of points from her TED Talk that I really resonated with. In Darwin's Descent of Man, he mentions survival of the fittest just 3 times, but he mentions love over 40. We survived because of our humanity and our ability to collaborate. So it's really important that we keep collaborating, and isn't that wonderful? The collaborative economy has taught us that experiences and data are, excuse me, I can't even see this. They're more important when they're shared, basically. And we have to become aware of the environmental and social determinants to increase well-being, because all these neural networks, they're built on us. They're built on our brains and our data. And we don't want those outliers when we're talking about humanity to be excluded, right? At least I don't want to be excluded. I'm an outlier. And if we all share our data, then we can include everybody and look at all those social determinants to see where wellness can really begin, and hopefully get everybody on the same page. I mean, imagine, you know, people in Africa and people in other places, where we may not have as much data mining. That would be fantastic if we can all bring them to the table and we can build that new AI together. So say there's a couple screenshots of her gorgeous app. Forget what mine looked like. What her app does, it is fantastic. You actually hold your finger over your phone. Now I can show my phone. And you hold it over the camera and the light, and it actually takes your blood pressure reading, and it tracks your anxiety through a few other metrics that are baked into the app. And so much of our wellness is based on our anxiety and how we feel and our mood meter. And it's just breathtaking and gorgeous, and it deserves recognition. Yeah. And as I was saying, sharing our data will help us craft the new wellness AI. And I think a holistic representation of our lives is really what we're looking for at this point. I know for my own metrics, because I keep track of everything, even before I had Spoonie Day, something I do to stay plugged in. I can't go to the gym right now. A lot of us can't, but I do a little pedal date with my sister who is in Syracuse, New York. I haven't done one recently because she's an ER doctor and she's a little busy right now with the corona. But basically we would call each other with FaceTime twice a week, and we would both sit on the bikes that we have in our house and we'd pedal together. And that's the only time I've ever stuck to an exercise regimen, is when we do it together. And you can be accountable to somebody in a good way. And isn't it nice to then, you know, have that little human spectrum in there, right? So that's one example of just human connectivity. But also then I can log, I exercise. Do I feel better when I exercised on versus weeks when I didn't? Absolutely. I don't want to admit it, but absolutely. You feel better when you get a little exercise out there. So something, I think it was from a Muppets episode or something like that once, but it's like, we're all together, all alone, you know, but we're not alone. We really aren't. Even with the social distancing, we are not alone. So I'm hoping that apps like Spoonie Day bring people together, and the chronically ill be enabled to share their journey with their loved ones. Because when I explained what it was like to be chronically ill before I had the spoon theory, even my husband, he didn't get it. And the minute I put it in relation to the spoon theory, it was like a light went off. And I can't tell you why spoon theory works, but energy tracking doesn't. It just doesn't. I guess it's just part of that human condition too. But I'm so glad that there actually is something that gives us that tool, and thanks to that great blogger, Christine, who put it out there for the world to share. Thank you. I am a little bit early. I think I'm almost 10. I could do a live demo of Spoonie Day, actually. Let me see if I can.
Do it.
Hi, do we have questions too?
Yeah, please, if you have questions, just throw them in the chat or voice them. I think there's it's not too crowded in here that it will get too crazy. And while we're waiting, let's see a little demo.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't go sideways live in its alpha basis, right? But yeah, basically, and I can't see too well because we have that, but let's say, okay, I just woke up. Here's my morning. Hey, I'm feeling pretty good, right? Maybe I'm feeling great. And I want to start logging what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up and I'm going to get dressed. And, sometimes it's going to take more spoons than others. So I got to feed my cat. She's annoying, right? So I feed my cat. And then, oh no, this little box is in the way. Can I move it? Oh, yes, I can. Then I can check off when I actually did it because that's what I planned. Right? And as I check it off, you can see the little bar here on the far right changes color. Those are my spoons. And the big goal at the end, I have watched TV here now, you always want to have one spoon at the end of the day because that's your spoon to sit and chill with your family and watch TV because what else do you do, right? But yeah, meal planning is big, and just certain things take more spoons. And then at the end of the day, maybe I got bad news, received bad news. You can make your own custom ones too. And then at the end of the day, maybe I don't feel so great. And I learned that, I should probably find a way to deal with that anxiety over the pandemic going right now. And that's what Spoonie Day is. BioSay is a little more exciting with the biojis. But that one's not ready for release yet. It will be soon. Yep, let's see. What other activities could we do?
I bet people have questions.
Sure.
You're such a great storyteller.
Avi to kind of MC the questions.
I have a question.
Oh, you do? I'm ready.
First of all, I love that I finally got to see this. So full disclosure, I also run the Hive. RI and Rob and Julie have an office within the Hive. Mm-hmm. So I'm so busy with Venture Cafe that we pass like ships in the night, and I'm so thankful that you were able to do this. So I know why you're doing it. What do you think? What's the ETA?
The ETA on this, if you go to my website, you actually can. If I go to my website, which it's here, right? I hope everybody can see there's the spoon theory. And basically it's kind of alpha right now, but if you click on it, you can't download it to your phone yet. I haven't released it to the App Store, but there it is, nice and fresh. And you can monkey with it right here and there, get up, get dressed, whatever you have to do, and then check it off. So you can't save it right now or print it out, but I think that we'll be able to do that probably within, I'm thinking 3 weeks.
Wow. So
we work fast at Blackburn Labs because now I had something to talk. I got to talk about it. So my husband, who is the software architect, he can't tell me no anymore.
So I see so many different applications for this app, right? Anxiety, people who, so I understand why you did it. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about specific target audience, but isolationism and anxiety is just, now it's just going to be, it was already bad and now it's going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely, part of that chronically ill, the mentally ill who can be forgotten. What we do as a family at Christmas is we go to nursing homes and we give out teddy bears around Christmas because or the holidays, I should say, a lot of the elderly are just forgotten, and that teddy bear could be the only thing they get during the season. And the nurses will tell us afterwards, oh my gosh, they go to sleep with them and everything. It's sad, but it's very true. I as a data scientist, you want to look for the trend But as a human, I also want to look for the outliers, those people that get swept aside, because we're not just data points. We're real things. We're real people. Yeah.
Well, good luck. This is awesome. Keep us
Thank you.
posted. We'll have to have you back in like 6 months and a year to give us.
I wish this had been out earlier, and it's just kind of when you have so much business, it kind of hurts so good, and my project kind of got swept aside, for other people's dreams, and that's okay, because they were paying clients, and I expected my husband to work and architect something for free. But we're definitely making the time for it now, and I don't think it'll be long at all, because the truth is, it's not that complicated an app. And when you're somebody who knows how to build an MVP, that's a minimum viable product for the non-techies here, it really helps collapse the time frame on getting something done from beginning to end, so that you're not double dipping on your work. Yeah. Thank you, Toonie.
Julie, this is Margot Crawford.
Hi.
Hi. Even in the top of the call when we started, and in my breakout session, people were talking about, oh, my routine has totally changed because now I'm working from home. How do I get into the mindset of sitting at my desk? We were even joking about, okay, so how many showers do I need to take this week? Because I don't need to see anybody, right? And I think this is a really good application of creating an ideal day. What does that look like? And then even if you don't get to, half of it, if you can get to half of it, then wow, you've had half of an ideal day. And if you get to all of it, it's great. So when you're feeling like you're off your routine or don't know where to start, Spoonie Day is just perfect for that. You've already thought it through, and you just have to check off the boxes. And oftentimes we're not sure about what our energy level is when we're sick and when we're not sick.
Exactly. No, thank you. That was so perfect. I'm going to bring you to everything I do now. Yeah, no, that was so eloquent and on point. It is exactly what we were going for. Yeah, because basically even when you're just sort of figuring it out, because I had MS for years. I didn't know. My doctors didn't know. We were trying to figure it out. And I was always a planner and an organizer. And then to finally be at the point where I was at capacity? What do you mean? I can't just get 3 hours sleep and be cool? It was strange. So yeah, I like that this could shift to anybody. It really can. But my intent with it was to be able to share with your circle of trust, so they got what you were capable of doing in a day and wouldn't necessarily ask you to do too much. For example, it's like taking a shower is actually difficult for me. So it helps if I can do it in the evening. So then if they're saying, well, why aren't you watching TV with me and the kids? There's a reason. And they know that if I took my shower in the evening, that I'd have more energy to get done what we need to accomplish for the rest of the day tomorrow. And that's that. But yeah, planning your day and your week is exactly what this is about. Thank you, Margot.
Erica, if you're still on, I'm just empathy, which Tim is an empathetic leader, and we talk about this all the time, but I just think this is so timely. Thank you so much for doing this. This is important. It's just important.
Yeah. Also, Craig has his hand up.
Yes. Hello, unknown stranger. Yes, Craig.
Hello, Julie.
Hi.
Thanks for sharing this. Have you given any thought into adding a social element to the app to perhaps allow people to provide each other with encouragement or support?
That's an interesting suggestion. Yeah, my initial intention with this was just to be able to share it with a few emails. Like I would like to share it with my husband and maybe my doctor. But yeah, to socialize this is something that I could see maybe in a later version, like have it as a real social application. Absolutely. Yeah, and then people could like and, see what's going on, maybe see what else is relevant with other Spoonies too.
Yeah, my thought was if you were having a particularly down day, it might help to receive some words of encouragement from someone who's in the same boat and has been there, and who can tell you, hey, you'll get through it. Tomorrow's another day. Keep your head up, type of thing. I
think that's a wonderful idea and a wonderful sentiment. Yeah. I'll
And I
have
think
you comment on the alpha. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. So that would require me adding some way to do posts and then a comment field, but it's nothing Blackburn Labs can't handle. And you know that, Craig. We've met before, and it's just for full disclosure. Craig's a developer. Yeah, he's like, maybe I could develop that, is the only thing that isn't being said right now. He's a very talented developer.
Thank you.
So Julie, how I can see this used in a productivity aspect is looking at, so adding that social piece could be the piece where, yes, you get the feedback of encouragement, but also accountability. What am I going to do? And then someone following up with you on that, or saying, hey, I noticed you didn't exercise yesterday.
Yeah.
And then the other piece that we talked about in the breakout session is it's been really difficult to focus this week. I would say this, for myself included, and I've been a productivity coach for 17 years. The news, what's happening to our friends and family, far and near to us, is disturbing at times. And so monitoring our anxiety so that we can be able to say, oh, this is why I didn't produce as much as I did 2 weeks ago. And it's okay. We're all facing some really big, uncertain times right now. And so, and managing that anxiety and knowing that it affects our work and our health and our focus. Absolutely. And tracking that over time could be really, really helpful, not just for someone who is ill, but just someone who may be struggling with whatever's going on. So.
Right, I completely agree. And BioSay, not to detract from my own application, but BioSay, that is exactly what it's about, is tracking your anxiety over time, because so many of our illnesses, mental illnesses, not actual literal anxieties to mental illness, but mental illnesses and heart disease and other parts of our wellness are based around our emotional well-being as well. So yeah, no, thank you again, Margot, for that very relevant comment. That was most excellent. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. I'm going to throw it out to the group out there. If you want to continue the conversation with Julie, we can throw you in a breakout room and talk more about what the future for this app is, how to make it better, and how people can utilize it. So we thank you a lot. Great story, really compelling and really touching.
Thank you.